The film opens with a thunderclap, and the screen is drenched in a black and white haze. A chilling tribute to the classic monster films of yore. The prologue pulls us directly into the heart of 19th century Transylvania. The villagers are gathered, torches blazing against the ink-black night, as they march toward a looming, jagged castle atop the cliffs. The air vibrates with their cries of fear and fury. Inside the castle, a scene of chaos unfolds. Dr. Victor Frankenstein, pale and trembling, stands before his latest creation. Lightning crashes through the windows, illuminating the grotesque shape sprawled on the operating table. It's alive. Frankenstein's monster groans as its milky eyes open for the first time. Frankenstein's exhilaration is short-lived, though, as the towering figure of Count Dracula steps from the shadows. Dracula is no mere mortal. His sharp features and icy smile radiate menace as he congratulates Frankenstein on his success. But Dracula has his own plans for the creature, plans that Victor cannot abide. The confrontation escalates, and as the villagers storm the castle, the scene grows more chaotic. Flames consume the laboratory. Frankenstein is killed, and his anguished creation escapes into the raging storm, carrying his master's lifeless body. The prologue ends in a crescendo of fire, death, and despair, and the screen fades to black. But the chaos has only just begun. The scene shifts to a new locale, Paris. The world has burst into color, but the tone remains dark. The camera pans to reveal a shadowy figure stalking through the cobblestone streets. This is Gabriel Van Helsing, the legendary monster hunter. Clad in a long, flowing coat and armed with an arsenal of deadly weapons, he's a man of mystery. Van Helsing is here on a mission to hunt down and destroy Mr. Hyde. The chase is thrilling, a heart-pounding sequence of rooftop leaps and narrow escapes. Hyde, a hulking, grotesque figure, taunts Van Helsing with wicked glee, his voice oozing malice. The battle culminates in the bell tower of Notre Dame, where Van Helsing finally brings Hyde down, though not without collateral damage. The victory is bittersweet, and Van Helsing's expression betrays his inner torment. He is not a man who relishes killing, even when it's a monster. Back at the Vatican, Van Helsing is summoned by his superiors, an ancient, secretive order dedicated to combating supernatural threats. The Vatican's sprawling archives serve as the perfect backdrop for their latest mission. Van Helsing is tasked with traveling to Transylvania to confront Dracula himself. The stakes are impossibly high. Dracula is not only terrorizing the region, but also holds the key to an ancient curse threatening the last descendants of the Valerius family. Van Helsing accepts the mission, knowing it will lead him into the very jaws of darkness. Transylvania greets Van Helsing with an eerie, otherworldly beauty. The landscape is both breathtaking and foreboding. Towering mountains, dense forests, and crumbling villages shrouded in mist. It's a place where the line between the living and the dead blurs. In the heart of this cursed land, we meet Anna Valerius. She is the last member of her family, a proud and fierce warrior determined to break the curse that has plagued her bloodline for generations. Anna is no damsel in distress. Her first meeting with Van Helsing is tense. She does not trust this outsider, this man who claims to be her salvation, but circumstances force them together. The village is under attack by Dracula's brides, 3 vampiric women of haunting beauty and savage cruelty. The battle is a whirlwind of chaos and blood. The brides swoop down from the sky, their laughter echoing like a sinister melody. Van Helsing and Anna fight side by side, their movements synchronized as though they've been allies for years. Van Helsing's weapons, crossbows and holy water, prove effective against the undead, but the brides are relentless. The scene is pure adrenaline, every moment a dance of life and death. When the dust settles, the village is left in ruins, but the people are alive. For now. Van Helsing and Anna share a tense truce. She agrees to let him accompany her, but she makes it clear this is her fight, her family's curse. The next leg of their journey takes them to the infamous Castle Dracula, a place that looms like a living nightmare over the Transylvanian landscape. Their journey is fraught with danger, from werewolf attacks to treacherous terrain. Along the way, Van Helsing begins to learn more about Anna's family and the curse that has bound them to this dark fate. Her ancestors swore an oath to destroy Dracula, but none have succeeded. And Van Helsing finds himself drawn to her strength and vulnerability. Their bond deepens as they face death together, but there's little time for anything resembling romance. Dracula's influence is everywhere, his shadow casting a long pall over the land. The monster hunter and the warrior share a quiet moment by a campfire, their faces lit by flickering flames. Van Helsing reveals fragments of his past, or rather, his lack of one. He doesn't remember who he was before he became a hunter, and the question of his true identity haunts him as much as the monsters he hunts. But their moment of quiet is shattered when they arrive at the castle. Perched atop a jagged precipice, shrouded in an eternal twilight that seems to defy the very laws of nature, stands Dracula's formidable castle. Its ancient stones whisper tales of darkness and dread, a fitting sanctuary for the lord of the undead. Within its icy halls, Dracula, his features a mask of cold fury, plots with his remaining brides, their loyalty absolute and their hunger insatiable. He also oversees a macabre nursery, a chilling horde of unborn vampire offspring, suspended in a state of unnatural animation, awaiting the moment of their dark birth. Driven by a desperate need to replenish his lost progeny, Dracula seeks to exploit the stolen technology of Dr. Frankenstein, combining it with the unwilling transformation of Velkin, now a snarling, bloodthirsty werewolf, in a twisted attempt to force life into his dormant children. However, the unholy science proves volatile and unpredictable, resulting in a catastrophic failure that extinguishes the nascent lives of hundreds of the young vampires, leaving Dracula's ranks further diminished and his rage intensified. His obsession now fixates entirely on Frankenstein's monster, whose unique biological structure and the mysterious electric core that pulses within him hold the key, he believes, to true and lasting animation. Unbeknownst to the vengeful vampire lord, the monster has miraculously survived the inferno at the windmill. He now seeks refuge in the crumbling ruins of a forgotten castle, a desolate sanctuary where he grapples with the torment of his unnatural existence. Haunted by the memories of his creation and the fear of further exploitation, the creature lives in mournful solitude. Yet deep within his artificial heart flickers a nascent longing for purpose, a desire to be more than just a collection of stolen parts. Van Helsing and Anna venture into the shadowy depths of the Transylvanian forest. The ancient trees loom like skeletal sentinels, their branches intertwined, casting long, distorted shadows that dance with the creeping mist. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and something wild and untamed. Their search leads them deeper into the wilderness, until a guttural snarl rips through the silence, shattering their fragile hope. Velkin, now fully and irrevocably consumed by the savage werewolf curse, emerges from the darkness, his eyes glowing with feral intensity, his fangs bared in a terrifying display of primal fury. He lunges at them with terrifying speed and strength. Drawing upon his extensive experience in combating the creatures of the night, Van Helsing fights with desperate skill, managing to wound the lycanthrope with silvered weaponry, creating a narrow and perilous window for their escape. However, their reprieve is short-lived. While Van Helsing tends to his own injuries, Anna is ambushed and captured by Dracula's remaining brides, their movements swift and silent as shadows. She's brought before the Count in his imposing castle, where he attempts to exert his ancient charm and seductive power. Undeterred by Anna's capture, Van Helsing infiltrates Dracula's stronghold, confronting the vampire lord in his lair. It is here that he discovers the horrifying truth. Dracula is immune to conventional weapons, their silver and holy properties having no effect. The vampire seems an unkillable entity. In a harrowing and narrow escape, Van Helsing and Carl manage to evade Dracula's wrath, with Carl, during their frantic retreat, stumbling upon vital clues hidden within the castle's ancient and forbidden texts. These cryptic findings hint at Dracula's dark and complex origins, revealing an unsettling connection to the ancient Valerius family and mentioning a hidden portal leading to the dreaded underworld, a place from which few ever returned. Following the cryptic clues unearthed within Dracula's castle, the group embarks on a treacherous journey through the frozen wilderness. Their search leads them to a secluded, ice-laden cave, where they discover Frankenstein's monster alive and surprisingly articulate. He's a being of unexpected intellect and a profound, almost childlike spirituality, grappling with the profound questions of his own existence. He lives in constant fear of being discovered by Dracula and subjected to further torment and exploitation. Van Helsing finds himself caught in a moral quandary. His sacred mission is to destroy all monsters, yet he feels a growing sense of empathy and protectiveness towards this tormented creature, who, despite his terrifying appearance, seems to yearn for understanding and peace. As thunder rumbles across the ominous Carpathian sky, Count Dracula stands at the heart of his towering lair. Lightning coils through the iron veins of his monstrous contraption. Before him lies the restrained form of Frankenstein's monster, chained and thrashing, his chest heaving with both terror and resistance. Dracula's expression is cruelly serene. He leans in, whispering the dark truth. You were created for this. Below, Gabriel Van Helsing races against time. He clambers up the sheer cliff face, eyes fixed on the top of the tower where the monster is being drained. He knows what's at stake. Not just the life of the creature, but thousands of vampire children awaiting resurrection. Meanwhile, deep inside the castle, Van Helsing's ever-loyal friar companion is led by the treacherous Igor to a secret chamber. The cure for lycanthropy is housed there, glowing and bubbling in a pool of holy water. But as Carl retrieves the antidote, the air cracks with a shriek. One of Dracula's brides descends, eyes aflame, teeth bared. She lunges, but the sacred properties of the holy water wound her, causing her to recoil. Still, she is fast, deadly, and furious. Anna Valerius, ever brave, fights back with all her skill. She ducks and spins, wielding silver stakes and fiery resolve. But the bride is relentless. Above, Van Helsing reaches the top of the tower. The transformation is taking hold, his new werewolf strength surging through his limbs. He bounds effortlessly across the upper rafters, a predator stalking its prey. The machine is alive now. Lightning strikes its spires, and through its cables, the stolen essence of Frankenstein's monster is transferred to Dracula's dormant offspring. One by one, the grotesque children jolt with unnatural life, flapping their leathery wings in celebration. Suddenly, the monster breaks free. In a last desperate bid to stop the birth of evil, he leaps from the tower, swinging on one of the machine's thick cables like a pendulum. Carl sprints through the corridor with the antidote in hand, only to be intercepted by Igor. But fate intervenes. The swinging monster crashes into Igor, flinging him into a wall with bone-shattering force. The monster lands near Carl, injured but alive. His eyes plead not for death, but for the chance to live. Carl hesitates only a moment before helping him up. The monster spots Anna, locked in combat with the last remaining bride. With a desperate swing, he launches himself once more, colliding with the vampire mid-lunge, saving Anna from certain death. Van Helsing, now fully transformed into a werewolf, claws his way through the wreckage. Dracula emerges from the shadows, calm, elegant, and deathless. The Count taunts him, confident. But when the clock tolls midnight, the curse fully manifests. With a howl, Van Helsing loses the last of his humanity. The two titans collide, fangs against claws, wings against muscle. The fight is ferocious, crashing through windows, tearing through stone, a whirlwind of supernatural rage. Dracula morphs into his winged beast form, striking with venomous speed. But Van Helsing is no ordinary werewolf. He's faster, stronger, and with one devastating leap, he sinks his fangs deep into Dracula's throat. The immortal screams. Dracula dies. His twisted children above begin to fall from the sky, lifeless, soulless, unfinished. The spell is broken, but the cost is high. Carl, with the antidote in hand, races to stop Van Helsing, whose beast form is out of control. Anna arrives first. She lunges at the werewolf Van Helsing, injecting him with the cure. The moment of clarity is brief and tragic. In that split second, Van Helsing, still half transformed, fatally wounds Anna in a reflexive burst of fury. Time stands still. When Van Helsing regains his human form, Anna is already gone. Her sacrifice had saved him, but claimed her life. A funeral pyre is lit on a cliffside overlooking the Carpathian wilderness. Van Helsing stands in silence, mourning the brave woman he could not save. Carl offers comfort, but no words can ease the grief. Frankenstein's monster, now free from his tormentors, watches from afar. As dawn breaks, he drifts into the misty horizon, finally liberated, finally at peace. Van Helsing looks up one last time. In the golden clouds above, he sees Anna smiling, radiant. Beside her, her family at peace, their souls finally free from the curse that haunted them for centuries. He smiles back, then turns away, his path uncertain, but his purpose clear.